We're in the village of Flempton, which is west of Bury St Edmunds. This is the church of St Catherine's. A very clean looking, very neat looking church. Looks in very good condition. The gate is quite large. I think this is fairly new. I would not think it was that old. Maybe parts of this were older, I don't know. That's very impressive. It's all carved wood, lovely. It's very big. So like many of these churches, they keep their churchyard for wild animals. So it's what I would call a rustic churchyard, with a setting of being in a meadow really, and old gravestones, headstones rising out of the meadow grass. Rather impressive looking grave here. We'll have a look at that. It's very worn, difficult to read this one. It looks again that there's been some extensive work on the flint over the years. Two windows in that section with a little door which looks like a newer door. Old graves here. Nature's taking over. A lot of character on these. This old one here, I don't know if we can make out what it says. All the moss has been growing in the Richard Woods. Can we see when he died? That's 1875, would that be? Maybe? I don't know. It's worn and it's got moss growing in it, so it's very difficult. Debris here that's grown up next to the gravestone and the side of the church. Here we have
in memory of Catherine Stutter, who died in December 1816, aged 91 years, and in memory of Catherine Stutter, youngest daughter of William and Mary Stutter, who died March 2nd, 1856, aged 72 years.
And they've got a lovely large monument here on their grave and right next to the entrance to this church. It's a very rustic looking entrance. There's a bench here at the side of the porch. You can see the difference in the flint. Completely different style of flint work and presumably age. And in a lull of traffic coming through, we can hear the birds singing. Little faces, cherubs or angels. This looks like a skull and crossbones. You can see the tower here in the underneath the porch. Little cross at the side. And inside this porch we've got plain glass on this side. Looks as if it's replacing what probably was at one time leaded glass. The same on the other. And a very old door with carving at the top. Wooden ceiling. The back of the church has got an area under the tower with a Gothic arch and a stained glass window at the end. All the pews look to be Victorian, possibly 18th century, but I have my doubts. Little pot here. I assume that's for flowers, plants. And there we've got a bell pull and a ladder to access the tower. Little pew at the back here. You can see where the plastering has been done. Walls are all painted, which is nice. We look down the church and there's no extensions to either side. It's a lovely single aisled village church. Wooden ceiling and the supports coming down on the wall. This window is plain, but it's leaded and tinted. A nice cross built into the design of it. We've got a memorial here. A cross, a wreath underneath. And this is a memorial to the First World War. The floor has been covered with a hard wearing covering that will protect and make it easier to walk. It's not slippery. The ceiling is wood, but fairly basic, except that it's actually clad on the inside with crosses or little shapes like flowers. Actually, it's simple but very attractive. It seems to be more the sort of ceiling that was done by a good craftsman, carpenter, rather than an artistic craftsman. And we've got a very charming welcome to our church here.
The priests of St Catherine's Church, and the first one was in 1311, and it was Edmund de Chardelot.
There's been a long history here of people in this church. The 14th century was the first one. Got an electric heater on the wall here. And on the other side, another plain glass leaded window But then we come up here and we've got two beautiful, beautiful stained glass windows. This one is fabulous. Lovely shape. It's wide. And it's a mixture of plain leaded glass and stained glass figures. It lets a lot of light in and it's bright. That's St. John the Evangelist. And that is St. Christopher. And we've got a C for Christopher and a J for St. John. And that's St. Francis. And an F for Francis. And St. Francis has got animals. And there's a rather stern-looking animal or bird there. And St. Christopher's on his route march, on his journey. And we've got cushions everywhere here that have all been individually made, and this one I noticed is a donkey. That's lovely, isn't it? And here we have St. Catherine, Flempton. We come up to this area and we've got a pulpit. This time the pulpit's got a little gate, I guess. So we have to open the pulpit up. Nice pattern there. A good view of the church from here. And this lovely stained glass window to this side, which has a Gothic shape as opposed to that side. And we step up one step to this area. We find a very small stained glass window, very busy, quite dark really. Door to the side. Memorials. A beautiful organ. Again, I suspect it's Edwardian, possibly late Victorian. It's got large pipes at the side and a nice little collection in the middle, and the shapes of them at the top are rather good. It's quite well designed. And when we arrive here at the altar, we find 3 windows. 2 of them are stained glass. The main one, is very dark, very almost foreboding really. It's not giving a lot of light into the church. And then on the right hand side, whilst it's dark, this one seems to be brighter. And then a plain glass with leads on that side. Little alcove on the side. We've got electric heaters all around this church. So we look down, we see a very neat country church. Big enough to be impressive and small enough to be intimate. In fact, intimate is a good word to describe this church. You feel very at home here. And there's some thoughtful touches, I think, having this non-slip flooring and cushions everywhere. Heating, electric heating. Very, very nice. The organ is quite impressive from here. It stands out. It's actually bigger than it looks when you're up to it. It almost dominates that part of the church. The netted door keep the birds out. And as we walk out of the church and down the path, it's a grass path. It's another unusual facet here. Oh, and we've got two wheelie bins. This time it's a brown and a green. And we arrive back at the gate. And have a last look at this church, St Catherine's in Flempton, in the heart of Suffolk, not far from Bury St Edmunds.